So it's story time again, and I'm reading part 2 of Green Knight Terraforming Late Payment. I sprawled on a soft couch in front of a computer and messaging center. My ears rang from the noise of the call center. I would need some downtime. Donald waddled out of his room and then waddled back. I must have looked cranky and tired. Even my stained uniform, which I still wore, was more rumpled. I wanted to talk to no one and see no one. Boss. Tiny. The notes in Donald's voice were unsure. He usually boomed and smirked when talking to me. Plus, he only called me boss when he needed my attention. My name is Joe, I said automatically. What do you want, Donald? I spit out each word. Even I could hear the grouchy. I turned my head towards him slowly and glared. I guess the look of my face made even Donald, a mini tank, back up 1 or 2 spaces. I rubbed my eyes. I tried to temper my voice. What's wrong? But it still came out as a growl. Ermi was waiting in my room. He showed me the earworm cupped in his hands. Ermi looked white and still. He didn't move. I was used to seeing Ermi wiggle when he was free from the confines of my ear canal. Something wrong with him? But what Donald said next changed my entire attitude. Boss. There was fear in Donald's voice. They tried to kill him. Who? I was angry. No one was allowed to mess with my team except me. Who? I roared. Spit it out. All my ancestry, Scots, Celts, and a few hidden Neanderthals, roared with me. Green Knight Terraforming Company, he paused, watching my face redden. He stepped back another full step until he hit the door with his backside. The Contract Division. I had cleaned up after a contract division dispute. Those guys made us look like white-collar and reasonable. I could still smell the smoke and ash from the fire they set on one customer who refused to pay for services. When I saw the group who were part of this division, I gave them a wide berth. It wasn't because they were tougher, but because most of them had that sweet smell of rot. Evil has a smell. Tell me the full story. I felt something sink in my stomach. It wasn't right that this less than legal division was targeting my team member. When we fixed customer complaints, we kept as close to the side of the interplanetary law as possible. But there were a lot of laws, and there were a lot of ways to circumvent them. Donald stumbled through the story. Ermi had gone home to visit family. The earworm planet was a small asteroid that had been specifically constructed for the earworm colony. In payment, the colony sent an earworm from each generation for a year to work as translators for the company. The earworm colony had been sending their allotment, but the company had no records of the earworms in service. Ermi had been the last one recorded. Several of the earworms, like Ermi, liked the job enough that they stayed to work for the company. When Ermi reached the colony, the terraforming company had sent notices that the colony was in arrears and that the sterilization procedure would commence in a month. Ermi climbed back into his pebble-sized spaceship and flew straight to Donald and Tiny. Some of the sterilization drones had tried to kill Ermi as he made his escape. Donald stopped. He's too tired to continue and hasn't eaten in a few days. He set Ermi into a small glass habitat that contained fresh greens. At first, Donald tore off tiny pieces of green and set them near the earworm. After sniffing, the earworm tore into the little pieces. After each bite, Ermi's color went from white to a pale pink. It still wasn't a good color for the earworm. Call the rest of the team. We are going to find out why the earworms were targeted. Sounds like we need to do a little house cleaning. My voice was cold. Besides tweaking Miss Frigg's temper, I hadn't had to occupy my mind and body. After my shifts, I made a lot of local liquor disappear. Even though it was Ermy with a problem, and even though I was on the side against the company, I felt a thrill start up my leg and end somewhere in the center of my mass. I was going to do something. With a bit of hocus pocus, we had the entire lab team in our room. Hammy, of course, lit into me when she walked into the room. I felt a big grin plaster my face. Hammy was the head of our lab rats. The company called them interplanetary laboratory technicians. Plus, Hammy was proud of her position. She wasn't impressed with the name I had given her after seeing her the first time. She looked like a hamster walking on two legs. Still, she was here for Ermy. The rabbit, I hadn't gotten around to giving him a name because he was a thumper, and dang it hurt when he thumped. He had energy out the wazoo. It took 2 seconds before he was bouncing off the walls, the ceiling, and some of the couches. I brought some friends, Rabbit said as he did a backflip and ended in front of the computer unit. Hammy gave him a shake of her head and a frown. This is a super secret sneaky mission. Her frown got bigger. We don't need anyone that hasn't been vetted. How the hell did she know that forgot about again, telepathy. I could never get the technical aspects right. It was all magic to me when it came to woo-woo stuff. It's not woo-woo, Donald broke into my thoughts, and he started talking about dedicated telepathy links until I wanted to lie down on a fainting couch. He ended with, they teach this stuff to the younglings in school. The idea that my partners could have younglings cleared my brain enough that I could get to the business at hand. Who? My voice trailed off when big rats. Bigger than any rat I had ever seen before. On 2 legs. They came up to my waist. That big. Yous want to see us? One asked. This was no cute and cuddly rat from one of those kid movies that was hidden in the Earth's main library. I won't even think if I got my hands on that stuff. I heard there's a big reward. The other rat licked his lips and waited for me to reply. Donald stepped forward. What the hell? Now he was glaring at Rabbit. Why the hell did you invite these miscreants? I knows when I'm not wanted. The rat headed for the door and his friend after him. Wait! The words from Rabbit dropped into the sudden stillness. A flowery scent wafted from the rats. What the hell? Flowery rats? Talk fast, Donald said. They have resources we don't have. Get it all together. Where's out of the asteroid? Slow down, I said. They have resources we don't have, and we can get the earworms off the asteroid. Yeah, the entire team was waiting for me to catch up to the lab animals. I let Donald take lead. You've been talking to them. Donald had the flaring nostrils that told me, as his partner, that he was ready to charge Rabbit and throw him around the room hard enough to break things. I remembered my deposit for this room. I couldn't afford another firstborn child, not that I was going to have one, so I stepped in front of Donald. The rats watched the scene with interest. One had a knuckle duster he held loosely in his hands. We must have a reputation. I felt so proud. Speak, I said to the rats. This here is Tommy and I'm Timmy, the first rat said. We heard about your little problem through the grapevine. You can get them off the asteroid for a price. Donald, my voice controlled, what kind of price do these rats want? Normally, they take your firstborn, Donald said. But since you don't have one, and mine is under my mother's care. Donald paused. I was shocked. Donald had a kid? What they'll want is access to Miss Frigg. Oh, hell yes. My eyes gleamed with laughter. What kind of access? We just want to talk to her, Tommy said. We bought one of those new transforming kits, and we can't get it to work. I couldn't help it. I started laughing, big, guffing laughs, while my team looked at me with surprise. Oh, I snorted, and snot came out my nose. I'll escort you to see Miss Frigg. Rise and shine, Donald shook me. I tried to kick him, but my legs were trapped in the covers. Someone, I glared at Donald, had activated the tie him up function. I sighed, hit the switch that would release me, glared one more time at my tormentor, and hopped into the shower. I missed the days when I could step into a full shower with flowing water. With this shower, I never felt quite fresh enough. The water was a premium in space and was used for the usual, preparing food and drinking. Once you peed in the toilets, they looked something like toilets. A mechanical voice would tell you to leave the room immediately. After a few inquiries and laughter at my expense, Hammy said that the toilets were little distillers that purified the water. The water was then sent to a secret tank for testing. It was then used as normal water. After that lecture, I began drinking more beer and less water. Hammy would laugh at every time I took a sip. I didn't inquire. I wanted to be able to drink something on this floating tin space station. So I stepped into the shower, nozzles came out, and I was spritzed with something. It had a sharp smell that reminded me of the stuff we used to clean the floors with, Earthside. Then the nozzles would recede, and a second set of nozzles would protrude. This one hit me with a spray that was a little floral. Damn, Miss Frigg must be on a floral kick today. I stepped out of the shower, fresh as a daisy, and put on the uniform I had sworn not to wear for this stint in the call center. It almost gleamed, khaki pants, with all my tools, knives, blasters, various weapons to soften customer complainers. The black boots were kick shitters that I had customized to my specs. I would have killed the maker to keep my secret. I sighed, but my team were appalled by my suggestion, which was my intent. Donald took the memory from the man's head, or he looked loosely like a man. Sometimes the teams will do what I want if they think that I am capable of the final solution. They know I am a barbarian. The white polo shirt was the most deceptive piece of clothing that I had. It had embroidered the Green Knight terraforming logo over the pocket. The cloth was the finest in bullet, flamethrower, and blaster-resistant material in the known cosmos. For the first time since I had been banished to the call center, I was wearing this shirt. Donald looked a little pleased with his beak, almost smiling. Come on. His grin was disturbing. We got work to do. For the first time, I was going into Miss Frigg's office, a little on the perturbed side, with butterflies. I didn't know butterflies could get this big. Was I getting stage fright? Perish the thought. Donald left me at Miss Frigg's door with a good luck and a disturbing smile. Remember, I've been trying to get us fired. Normally, I was the one who was having a great time committing mayhem. But this was a little more than mayhem. I was taking in a thug element to a classy human's workplace. It was a shock when I opened the door after Miss Frigg's voice echoed in my head. Why are you standing at my door? Just grab the handle and pull. A small smile flickered across my face as I pulled the door open. Miss Frigg was getting too used to our daily interactions. Normally it takes a lot to surprise me. I've been around the cosmos for a few years now. I wasn't exactly a novice on Earth either, but seeing the rat sitting down and chittering, and Miss Frigg chittering back, had me frozen in the doorway. Come in, don't just stand there, she said, exasperated. I shuffled into the room and sat down in the remaining seat. Miss Frigg ignored me and continued her conversation. The rats were as grungy as last night. Their long hairless tails were hanging down from the back of the chair and wrapped around one of the legs. The smell of danger that emanated from them last night was changed to a mild, musky smell, very like a perfume some women on Earth like to wear when bar hopping. Miss Frigg turned her blue eyes in my direction. They were not the blue of a sunny day, but a blue of dark passions. For a moment I thought the passion was directed at me. I could see us in bed while I fed her fruit from lands far to the south. Joe, Miss Frigg said. The voice was harsh as the northern wastes. It swept across my tingly bits. This time the bits were the nerves in my skin and woke me from my daydream. I hope she couldn't read that one. Yes, Miss Frigg, I said meekly. I tried that grin with lowered eyes, a look that had gotten me more than my share of girlfriends in the past. Why, she paused, why was I not informed? I was ready to play our game, but her eyes were black now, and I could feel power thrumming all through the room. It beat against my head and heart until I realized I was hearing the beating of a very angry, very powerful heart. I decided that it wasn't in my best interest to play this game. I wanted to make sure we were thinking of the same problem. You mean the earworm asteroid? Yes, she roared, both hands on the desk. Her hair was floating like a halo around her head. I had only a moment to wonder how all those pins had fallen out before I felt a blast of heat hit my throat. I began babbling immediately about our secret meeting. I tried to stop all the confessions, but whatever she did to me took it all. I finished with bringing the rats to her office. For my sins, I was less covered by the experience. I'll do that again. For my sins, I was less cowed by the experience than exhilarated and intrigued. What was Miss Frigg? How could I find out more? Would she like me to be on her team? No, she said in my head. I would definitely not want to be on your team. It's a good thing I'm a girl, or I would have blushed. And that's the end of part 2. I'll be reading part 3 in the next video.